Thursday, the 11th day of May 2017. Good evening and welcome to the program. It's On the Spot here on NTV. My name is Simon Kasiate. I'm standing in for the regular host, Patrick Kamara. Now, in 2014, Makerere University established an endowment fund to provide the edifice of its financial stability. Dr. Martin Alikere, a renowned entrepreneur with consummate boardroom skills, was appointed to chair the board of trustees. Is this a silver bullet that will cure the financial limbo crippling the university? One may wish to ask. Once a bastion of academic excellence, Makerere University was hailed as the Oxford of Africa, but its hello has since slipped. On the spot tonight is Dr. Alikere, the board chairperson of this board of trustees, the Deputy Vice Chancellor, Professor Barnabas Nawangwe, Ambassador Edith Sempala, a member of the board of trustees, and the recently elected Guild President, His Excellency Paul Kato. Good evening, gentlemen and lady.
Good evening,
Simon.
Program.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Rarely do I host this program. I have done so only twice, and unfortunately or fortunately, Ambassador Edith Sempala is the constant. How lucky or unlucky am I?
How lucky I am.
We'll go straight to Professor Nawangwe, the Vice Chancellor of Makerere University. I'll start from the point of the Visitation Committee. On 1st of November last year, His Excellency the President, realizing that Makerere University's woes could only get worse before they get better, appointed a committee headed by, well, Dr. Abel Rendeire. We've since not heard much about this committee. The last time we checked, they had their tenure extended, as is normally the case in Uganda, extension of deadlines. What is the latest from that committee?
Well, Simon, if you don't mind, let me first of all thank you for hosting us. And let me begin by saying that I see the appointment of the Visitation Committee not just because of the problems that Makerere has been facing, which practically every major university in the world is facing anyway. It is not unique to Makerere University. But the importance of this Visitation Committee is that in 5 years, Makerere University will be celebrating a centenary of service to the people of Uganda and Africa, and an exemplary service to that. And when His Excellency appointed this committee, there is a very important statement he made, that he expects Makerere University to be researching on African problems, on our indigenous knowledge, and all those things. So let us not look at the appointment of the Visitation Committee as just the committee that is going to provide the silver bullet, but the committee that is going to get proposals and propose ways in which Makerere University is going to usher herself into the next century of service to this continent.
Well, the assignment had
The assignment was for 3 months, extended by another 3 months. The committee has done a lot of work. It has engaged the stakeholders. It has held meetings and the workshops with the stakeholders. There is another one tomorrow with the students, the student leaders, to give feedback from what they found. So they have done quite a lot, and I believe that they should be able now to present their report at the end of the 6 months, which will be at the end of June.
You'll pardon me, Professor Nawangwe, but looks like I have my eyes straight laid on you, just to put this into perspective. Now, I'm going to quote from an academic colleague of yours. He wrote about Makerere, saying, "When Makerere was consumed by the neoliberal policies pushed by the World Bank, the result was an overcrowded lecture theater, high lecture-student ratio, and the low quality of education offered to students." That's Professor Mahmoud Mamdani.
Yes.
Do you agree?
Well, I think what Professor Mahmoud Mamdani wrote about was factual at that time. But Makerere University has not sat back, and we reacted immediately, and there are definitely results that we can see. The physical space has expanded. The quality of staff is the highest on the continent. By the way, people don't realize that. We have the best quality staff on this continent.
Says who, the Vice Chancellor of that university, or there's an empirical research?
No, it is the public knowledge in the research world. 60% of our staff are PhD holders. There is no other university on this continent that has that quality of staff. So we did not sit back. We took the criticism in good faith and worked on it.
Wow, that's a nice way to set the ball rolling. Now I'll turn to the chairperson of the Board of Trustees. You were given the noble but uphill task to ensure that Makerere University is self-efficient in the long term with regard to financing many of its programs, and of course the usual cry and hue that comes in with the remuneration of their teaching and non-teaching staff, and also the ability to treat the students in a better way. How are you faring on that regard?
Well, the endowment fund is doing quite well. We had seed money in England of $1.5 million, which we have kept there, and it is being looked after by the Crown agents. That the most important thing about Makerere is that Makerere need not be poor. Why? Because Makerere has produced most leaders in East and Central Africa. And they, if asked to contribute towards Makerere, would happily and gladly do so. But we have not exploited that avenue. We have tended to depend on government, and this syndrome of dependency on government is the problem facing Makerere, because government can only look after Makerere and any other institution to a certain extent, and it is not possible to fulfill all the needs of Makerere. That is why we on the endowment fund believe, and I personally believe so, because I had the fortune of being in the United States, and almost all the private universities in America that you know of are privately financed. The government of the United States normally gives money for research, but the rest of the running of the university is in private hands, and this is what we are trying to do. First of all, Makerere is not poor. Makerere has got a lot of assets. It's got land in various parts of this country, especially in Kampala. It has alumni of many thousands and thousands, presidents of countries, unfortunately not the present one for Uganda, but he can also contribute if he feels like contributing. So we want to exploit the alumni, we want to exploit the properties, and we want to go out and ask for donation for specific purposes of research. And this occasion for which we are here is called Makerere Run, and it will be on Sunday. We are going to run to make not so much as to raise a lot of money, but to make the people aware of Makerere's needs. And I hope that by the time I retire, which is in another 18 months' time, we will have done something to show that it can be done. By the way...
Just confirm one thing. Are you attending this run?
I am.
So if you will run, certainly I will run. Twice the distance. You are renowned to be an economic magician, so to speak. While you were chairperson of the National Media Group, for which this organization belongs, our financial fortunes tripled in spite of the challenges we are facing. You were appointed to head Uganda Clays, a company that was almost on the precipice of receivership. You have resuscitated it, grown it in a short time. And one of the things that those who know you for is that whatever you touch, you have a time frame for it. Now you're telling us in 18 months, when you retire, there will be something heavy in the kitty. How much do we expect there?
That I can't tell you, but there will be bricks on bricks. We will have started. By the way, let me tell you what our first project is. The first project we want to do to show the world is the student union. That is a complex where students can go, have coffee, have theater, banking, just a restaurant, gymnasium, anything that causes relaxation.
If you don't include beer, please don't expect the numbers to be high.
There will be beer.
No.
Don't worry.
Now we can relax.
So this will be the first thing that we want to do. We want to create a center where students can mix and be students.
Great.
You got engineering students thinking mathematically. You got education students thinking differently. But in this place, they all mix together. They all become students and exchange ideas.
Incredible. Now I turn to you, Excellency, former ambassador of Uganda to the United States of America, Edith Sempala. You were in a country where, I'll give an example of Harvard University, which has got an estimated $34 billion in its endowment fund. And of course, much of this is contributed by the alma mater, folks who have been there, have left the place, some successfully, others unsuccessful in terms of their academic pursuit, like Bill Gates, but go back and put across an incredible drive of donation. What do you bring on the table? Do you have a data bank of all we reach Makerere University former students? Do you intend to do more fundraising drives than a run? What do we get from Ambassador Edith Sempala?
First and foremost, Simon, I think it's a question of you have cited the United States. Americans have a culture of giving back. And I think this is one of the things that we have to inculcate in our own people.
True.
That once you have been made by the education that you have received, it's really important to give back. You're giving back to others, but you're also giving back to yourself, to the future which you belong to as well. So that is really critically important. I think that, Makerere University, having the broad range of alumni that we do have, should not be suffering from lack, because many are able, and all of us, in fact, are able in some way, because we are not saying that it should be just the millionaires to give and others have nothing to give. I think we all have something that we can use to give back. So I think while many of them probably because of the history Uganda has gone through, they may not be mobilized, they may not, their contacts may not be known. I think the university is doing a good job of actually reaching out to the alumni.
True that.
And the response, Simon, has been actually positive.
Incredible to hear.
Yes.
There has been an argument that we, the former students of Makerere University, don't have a problem giving back. Our worry is when we give back, what will happen to what we've given back? And that pertains to the question of governance and by extension, leadership. Now I'll put this to both of you, you and Dr. Alike. I'll start with you first before I go to Dr. Alike, and you know why I will ask Dr. Alike, because for the time he was board chairperson, much of what he did was ensure that he holds the axe on chief executives of the companies he led to ensure that he puts their heads on the guillotine, those who do not perform and use money to grow the companies. But now, before he comes in, I'll get to you. How do you want us to get the confidence that when we give our money, it will actually go to do what it's meant for? Given, for example, the example that once money was dispensed to build a perimeter wall around Makerere University, and that wall did not see the light of day shortly after it was constructed, that lots of things come in and the stories portend of not good governance.
First and foremost, the endowment fund is really separate from the management of Makerere University.
Is it?
It is. It is. It is. It's our chair is here, and our finances are managed separately, and the administration does not encroach on our resources. We account ourselves.
That's the part where I sigh with the relief and say, oh.
Well,
Professor Nawangu is looking at me with his eye, but truth be told.
No, I'm not putting him on the spot, but I'm just talking about the endowment fund. It was established as a separate entity. And it's so, you know, and I think we have nothing yet to show, because we have probably personal integrity that you can talk about. But otherwise, in terms of how we have managed the fund, it has been a short time.
But at least you have some 3.9 billion.
But what we can, which is there. And what we can also guarantee is that we are going to be transparent. We are going to come back, even from this run, and account to everybody that has participated, even those who have not participated.
Great. Now,
so that, you know, everybody knows that, you know, their funds. I think that is a good question that you're asking.
Thank you.
It is a very good question. Ugandans, the people of Uganda must, you know, have confidence that when they make a contribution, it is going to be accounted for, and it will do that which was intended to be done.
Ambassador Sempala has just enlightened me on something. I thought there was a bit of a synergy, and in fact I wasn't seeing a clear dividing line between the endowment fund, the management of the university, and the cross-pollination of the management using some of those funds to meet their day-to-day.
No. That's not going to happen. We have a custodian in the form of the Standard Chartered Bank, which looks after the money. What we collect is spent by the Board of Trustees. The university is represented on the Board of Trustees by the Vice Chancellor, so he knows exactly what's happening. Now, I have given my personal assurance to the Makerere Council that if anything goes wrong with the funds, they don't have to look for somebody to hang. There's only one person to hang, and that's me.
That's a death wish for sure.
And it is not going to happen. That public money, it will be looked after, and it will go for the purpose for which it is collected. If it is collected to build a perimeter wall, which we hope it won't be, it will go for the perimeter wall, but not now. We are going to build up an asset for Makerere. My dream is that Makerere eventually will only go to government for specific requests, that Makerere will be independent financially, standing on its own. That is my dream. I may not be there to see it, but that is what we are trying to do with the endowment fund.
Incredible. Now I turn to you, Your Excellency Paul Kato, the Guild President, and we followed the campaigns that brought you to power very closely. We followed through the campaign rhetoric and messaging, and here you are seated with distinguished folks from the top echelons of management of the university. When you sit through this and listen to what Professor Nawangu just said, what Edith Sempala did say, and what Martin Alike said, does it look like a bright light at the end of what otherwise looks like a dark tunnel? Or is it the usual lip service that you've been used to?
Surely, Simon, I think you can also bear me witness on this, that Makerere University is going forward. Because look, if
Edith
we
must love that phrase, going forward, but that's not what
not the other going forward. Anyway, we are moving forward. Now, with such an initiative, I think, and as our motto states, building for the future. Indeed, we are building for the future. Because if we are talking about an endowment fund, a fund that will create self-reliance for Makerere University. It means that we shall have a Makerere University tomorrow, whereby a student who is sleeping in Chikoni and probably would want to sleep in campus, but because there is limited space in halls of residence, probably at one time will be accommodated in campus because there will be money to construct another hall of residence. A student who sits in a class of 100 students in just one room will
meant for 20.
Yeah, probably meant for 20 because we have limited resources. Will maybe be in a comfortable room some time to come. There is a student who at one time probably missed a lecture because lecturers were not paid. At one time, students will have lectures from day one to day last because lecturers will be paid in time. I think this initiative is good. Now, for the student center, we are going to have a student center from this as well. And this student center is going to be one of a kind. It is going to be having very, very many services in it. We are going to be having recreation facilities there. We shall have a student center whereby you find there is a gym, there are restaurants, there are cafes, well, yeah. You see, an institution like Makerere University
must be self-contained.
Yes, there are people of different calibers, people of different generations, and you have to make sure there is a provision that
unites
that caters, that unites all of them and that caters for every generation.
Paul Kata, I want to ask Nawang, is this guy voted for or he was appointed? He sounds to be very much in line with your policies, which is what I didn't expect of a guild president of Makerere University. But just to be very specific with you, Paul, you're leading a body of students who perhaps do not have the kind of foresight that you have and expect that they must personally benefit from the positives that the endowment committee intends to put. Now, Dr. Adike has been very modest in saying, by the time I retire in 18 months, I'll have something on the ground that's tangible. But maybe not. So someone who's joined the university and is in second year with the fire of being a sophomore and perhaps realize that you will not see the student center in their time at university and they are all running with the usual cortisol, that's the excitement of being a student, don't you find yourself in a tight corner having to explain to students that, look, you may not personally benefit from the positives of this fund, but give it the support that it requires?
Good enough. We are in a situation right now whereby most of the students, at least, have embraced this fund.
Have they?
Yes. Students have embraced it, though not fully, but at least a good number, they have embraced it. Though we still have a duty of reaching out to the remaining ones. And that gives me hope and confidence that these students actually will still, remain patient until everything comes to pass. Because we have explained to them, we have, now just like Doctor explained to you, that the fund and management are two different things, and they know that surely in the fund we have competent people, we have unquestionable people, and so we think in any case if something delays, we shall probably know there is something wrong if they explain to us, not putting them on ransom. And well, I think we have the trust of the students.
Well, we'll take a break from there. On the spot, take a break. When we return, we'll be having a deeper conversation on the endowment fund, what it intends to bestow onto the university, more than what has already been explained. But also importantly, I'll have to bring in the question of management of Makerere University, because like you and I will contend, the idea of strikes being synonymous with the name Makerere University is something we may have to have a discussion on today, and gladly, I have someone with the right answers for that. We'll be right back. It's On the Spot. Welcome back. We're glad you're still watching. It's On the Spot. My name is Simon, standing in for Patrick, the regular host of this program. On the Spot this evening, I have distinguished gentlemen and an equally distinguished lady. In no particular order, Dr. Martin Adike, Edith Sempala, Paul Kato, and Professor Nawangwe Barnabas. We are discussing the endowment fund of Makerere University and what it intends to bestow onto this university. But key among its tenets is it's meant to make Makerere University self-reliant financially and win it from government, which for the most part doesn't provide what's adequate for it to survive even an extra day. But before we went in for a break, questions abound as to the management of Makerere University, and I'm glad I have with me the Deputy Vice Chancellor. Professor Nawanga, I did make a tongue-in-cheek comment about the wall around Makerere University that did not see much of the light of day. You may want to just put an adjoiner before I ask yet another question with regard to management at Makerere.
Yes, thank you, Simon. I think I must inform the public about the problems surrounding the collapse of the wall. The wall collapsed not because people squandered the resources, but because people thought they could build the wall using cheaper methods and disregarding the designs of the engineers. That was the real problem.
I think the bigger problem would have been the absence of supervision, because I think every contractor is out to maximize profit and minimize cost, and the cheapest way to do so is go for substandard material. Now the supervising contractor or engineer should be the one with their eye firmly on the ball. You blink, you're in trouble.
Yeah, unfortunately this was being done internally by the university itself, trying to save resources, and those mistakes were made, trying to save costs and so on. So nobody squandered money, but they used the money only using the wrong technology and disregarding the design. That was the problem.
And the cynics will say, for a university that trains what should be the most incredible civil engineers, construction management specialists, for you to be unable to put up a good show for everyone to look and say, wow, we begin to doubt whether you're up for the task. And that could portend to every other thing, because you have a school of management, but others will argue that Makerere University is not arguably the most managed institution in this country. Why so?
You see, there is always that argument. There's a difference between the training wing and the implementation wing. We have got an STS department which was responsible for construction of the wall. It had nothing to do with the people who train the engineers. Okay, so there is that distinction. And when you talk of the management wing and yet Makerere not, my argument is, if Makerere was not well managed, how come with the meager resources we are among the top universities in Africa?
The jury is still out there. Go.
I mean, these are facts which are there. Everybody, all ranking institutions around the world are putting Makerere either second or third. And they're all different ranking institutions. With all those meager resources, if there was mismanagement, would we be achieving that?
Perhaps.
Yeah, it would not be possible. And I want to reassure the public, just like the President has said, we have a credible team in the endowment fund. The most respected people in this country. On top of that, Makerere University has been managing all the resources that have been provided either by the students or the government very frugally. Those of you who knew Makerere 20 years ago, does it look the same? From those small bungalows to the huge blocks that we now have. If the money was being squandered, would we have that? Those of you who have been there this week and maybe compare with what you were seeing a month ago, the new roads, the money that we got from KCCA as compensation, every single coin is being put in the improvements of the infrastructure. People are now saying, at last Makerere looks like a first world university. No money is being stolen by anybody.
That's the masterstroke of PR genius that you put to us here, and like I say, we will go out there and find out. Now let me relate the management and the endowment fund in one or another. While the endowment fund is forward-looking and has a time frame and has a kitty where the money is going to be put and have a prioritization list where they will go to attend some of your major challenges, the reality on the ground is that you continue to grapple with some major challenges. I mean, the discipline of students continues to remain an eyesore. The absence of proper facilities that are adequate for the numbers that you have remain yet a sticking point. You've got the everlasting quest by your teaching and non-teaching staff for better remuneration that remains sticking out like a hot thumb. All that you wake up to face every single morning as an administrator of this university. So while the endowment fund is out there collecting money and planning for the future, what are you, the administrators, doing for the moment? And please don't tell me about the nice high-rise buildings that you have at the moment, the beautiful roads you are constructing, because some of your non-teaching staff will say, we don't eat roads.
You are right. The most important resource for our university and for any university is the human resource.
True.
You know, the president rightly said, if our staff will be paid well and they are teaching the students as they should be, we shall reduce those problems. We are not sitting, I've told you, within the last 30 or so years, not 20 years, we have grown the most competent human resource in any university on this continent. I always argue we are having a first world human resource in
a third world facility.
A third world setting. And that's a challenge for us. But contrary to public perception, the Makerere staff are very committed people. There are people there who could go and work anywhere in the world. But because they love Makerere, they have stayed. And we must thank the government. That the government, finally, 2 years ago, the president came and said, we want to increase the salaries of Makerere staff to be competitive with salaries in the region and beyond, so that we keep our scientists and professors here. The government started implementing on that. And I just wish that that pledge is taken into fruition. Because as a country, we must protect this very, very rare asset that we have. Makerere, and I'm not boasting, sir, is ranked the best black university in the world. We should be proud of that.
I think I miss all this research. Please, every time a new research comes out, ensure that I personally get it. Because what I get is totally different. I must admit that on my other programs that I host, I normally prefer to refer to Makerere as an exaggerated secondary school. You're proving me wrong. I'll turn to Guild President. The body of students whom you lead faces social vagaries that continue to distract them for the most part from what they actually are supposed to do at the university. Go and patronize any dance hall right now, Makerere University people will stick out. Go and check out maybe a bunch of criminals holed up now at the Central Police Station, you'll find some of your colleagues in there. Check out those who are grappling with substance abuse, your colleagues are in there. Go and check out all those that are doing just the wrong things, your colleagues are in there. And many people, especially those who possibly are crossing the Rubicon of being parents, ask themselves a daunting question every time they've got to send their own child to Makerere. Say, look, we're sending our children to a place where they will not actually be children, but there'll be something else. Does it bother you as a student leadership that the moral turpitude of your own colleagues leaves a lot to be desired vis-a-vis what they're supposed to be doing in class?
Well, Simon, I must say that students of Makerere University are not that badly mannered like you may think or like you may perceive. First of all, the students of Makerere University have been taken to be badly mannered, especially when it comes to strikes. There I must be clear. It is because of strikes that students of Makerere University have been taken to be hooligans. But one, I must say, like I've always said, Makerere University is an open place. It has always been. For the last 100 years. It has always been. And you see, one, we have people that graduate from Makerere University, but because they don't have anything to do, and they always find time to come back to Makerere University. It is very clear. When you go to halls of residence, when you go to hostels, and all these places around Makerere, there are very many former students of Makerere University just loitering around there because they have nothing to do. And when such an things like a demonstration come up, they always want to come in and make sure that they drive these other students probably to places like Chikoni and vandalize. because they don't have what to eat, they will use that opportunity to take these other good students down so that they can steal or they can rob.
And that's where leadership comes in, for you to identify the wolves from the sheep and perhaps ensure that they are expunged.
Well, I think police has been doing its job. They have been arrested before, and they have continuously arrested them, because even last time there, we were at Wandegea. We went to bond out students, but when we reached there, we found there were some of them were non-students, and we were asking ourselves, how did they come in? So surely I think let's not put a very big blame necessarily on students of Makerere University.
But how about this? That in the days gone by, the most emotive and eloquent debate always came from Makerere University. The most novel ideas on how to carry this country forward came from Makerere University. The most distinguished criticism to the governments of the day came from Makerere University. Today, what do we get? Perhaps the best form of hooliganism, the best form of everything else that is not commensurate. Is it because the seeding process of who comes to Makerere also leaves a lot to be desired? Or when you get there, you get the sense of we have arrived and possibly prefer to take the wide but very attractive road to destruction?
But still, Simon, surely you cannot say that Makerere University doesn't produce the best for this country. If it doesn't, where does the best come from?
Ask me which school I went to anyway.
Where did you go, by the way? Where did you go, Simon?
Yes,
because
where did
we
you
are
come
proud
from?
of you as an alumnus of Makerere University.
Thank you.
Yeah?
And,
you are...
and maybe I must comment on that, because you know there is again that perception.
True.
People say Makerere must regain its former glory. Makerere regained that glory long ago. We are the top research university on this continent. Look at the innovations coming out of the university. Who is solving the problem of Ebola for Africa? If it is not Makerere. We are the ones who went to West Africa to solve that problem. Who is producing the best research in malaria and HIV? Who are the leaders in HIV management anyway? Is it not Mulago people through Makerere University? Where did the Kira EV come? The first African electric vehicle come from? Is it not Makerere?
I'm waiting for you to make 2 of those.
We have made 3.
Yeah.
3. When they become 10, then we can talk about Kira.
Simon, there is research and there is production.
Production.
We go as far as prototyping is, and somebody should take over from
The
there.
entrepreneur like Dr. Martin Ali.
Exactly.
That's the business idea we should explore. Now, I'll turn to you, Dr. Ali. If I go to Ambassador Sempala.
Yeah, what I would like to make clear is that I don't want to leave the studio giving the impression that the endowment fund is going to be separate forever and ever. When we get to a certain amount of money, we will give university the money to use it the way it seems fit. And we hope the first thing that the university will use with the endowment money is to give scholarships to needy students who are worthy of assistance. That is number 1. Number 2, of course, because the money is useless if it is not used. Therefore, infrastructure is another area which is continuous anyway. You improve the infrastructure, it gets old. You improve it again, it gets old. So, when our dream is realized and there is money in the kitty in billions of dollars, then the university will have the authority to use as much money as is available, while the endowment fund continues to generate some more money.
I will take you on that one and say, I wish to follow the money. At what point? And you've said billions of dollars, but I always prefer to have a bit of specificity. Are we talking about single-digit billions? When it hits the double-digit billion of dollars, at what point do you, in your view, as chairperson, think that the time is near for the university to partake of that money?
If we could get up to $100 million, we could afford to give $50 million to the university to do what it wants to do. After all, what is the money for? The money is for the university. The money belongs to the university. The money is generated for the university from the resources. Basically, if we are using the land, for example, we have dreams of building apartment buildings on some of the land in Kampala. That is Makerere land, and the money that comes out of it should be given to the university to use. So we are only custodians of the money to be used by the university for the good of the university.
Ambassador Edith, any university worth its salt, or its name for that matter, must be one that's able to churn out research that is trailblazing and solves the problem of the day in the geographical space where it's operating. Even without preempting Dr. Like's assertion, don't you think it would be better, as you reach the threshold of money in the endowment committee, to study and identify where this money would be best put to use? You've talked about the scholarship, fair enough, but how about research? Professor Nawanzo may chest thump and say they are the best so far in research, but I want to believe that in research from Makerere University, a lot still requires more financing. Is that something you're considering?
Oh, absolutely. And I think because one of the challenges of this country and of students and those who graduate is jobs. Jobs, jobs, jobs. The economy is not growing to the extent of being able to accommodate all the graduates. We are graduating more students than we can, accommodate, which creates a huge social problem, but also an economic problem, because you have educated these people. They have the basic skills, but they have no avenue to use those kind of skills. So I would imagine that one of the areas of research is really in the area of job creation, because we are in the East African community, which is supposed to be a very huge market. We're in Comesa. We have many other trade opportunities. Europe, or everything but arms. AGOA of the United States, that we have really not
harnessed
harnessed to any extent that is usable. So I believe that one of the areas, we have a very vast agricultural land which is still very nominally used. And recently, as you have seen, we have been having famine in a land of plenty. So those are some of the areas that I think Makerere University can really indulge in research to make sure that they can guide the government, because normally research is not just for research's sake. It is, they need to be applied. The research needs to be applied for use to advance or prosper the country.
Incredible. We must take a break from here, but when we return, obviously we'll be looking at, yes, Makerere University prepares you, gives you all the basics, but somehow when you are walking out of the gates with your wonderful academic credentials and the papers on which they are written, there's not so much of a job waiting for you, and the cry has been, don't be job seekers, be job creators. When you look into this nasty town of ours called Kampala, all these wonderful arcades, not a single professor has a building in Kampala called an arcade, except I think Augustine, your colleague, was a small little one in Wandegea. And sometimes people wonder, why are all these arcades owned by illiterate people and the professors don't have much to show off in wealth? What causes the disconnect between incredible academic excellence and the ability to generate wealth? Because we go to school to have a wonderful livelihood and have some money. What happens along the way? That and more we'll be discussing on the spot shortly after this break. We are on the spot, you are on the spot, everyone is on the spot, so to speak. And here we are discussing the situation at arguably the best university in Uganda, and by all forms of ranking, one of the best in Africa, and that could be extended to the world. Makerere University it is. Professor Nawangu, you are the Deputy Vice Chancellor of this university, and as we closed for the break, of course, questions abound. These wonderful infrastructure projects in town belong to folks that even have not been anywhere close to Makerere except for mischief and not education. And we argue, how come professors are unable to amass wealth and yet they teach courses that are about the amassment of wealth? Where is the disconnect?
There is no disconnect, Simon.
Or are these guys your fronts? You own these things, but they just come up for the bravado?
No. A professor commits his or her life to producing knowledge and passing it on to other people for the betterment of society.
It's like finding my local parish priest in hell, and he says, you know what, I spent all my time ensuring that you go to heaven, and here I am in hell.
Unfortunately, yes. So, the world over, professors are not billionaires, but they create billionaires. True. It is a calling. Being a professor is being a teacher. It is a calling. And you cannot go there if you are looking for huge money. It is important that we pay these people a living wage to continue producing knowledge without having to look for where to go and get something to eat. But we don't expect, nowhere in the world do you expect them to become billionaires. What we do and what we are doing now to address...
Let me put it this way.
Yes.
Those who in fact fail your examinations and live like Bill Gates did with Harvard end up making loads of money. Many of the guys you see in downtown Kampala making huge sums of money, a bigger percentage did not go as far as completing their studies at Makerere, if at all they got in there. And one begs the question, are you just training for the theory of it, or the practice of the real life outside the world continues to elude you and the students you teach?
No, we are training. You see, people get a university education to manage their life and also manage the less privileged. Look at the tycoons we are talking of in Kampala. There is a new breed of tycoons who have a Makerere degree. And see the way they are managing their business compared to those who did not go there. Those who did not go there, the businesses are crumbling. Those who went through Makerere, they are prospering. So a university education is very important. It empowers you to manage your life and to manage society better. So whereas the professor will be there making sure that more and more of these people go out, and he himself or herself is not necessarily benefiting too much or creating, because that is not their calling. Their calling is to create knowledge.
Great. Yes. Dr. Alike, as a chairperson of every distinguished organization that ever existed in Uganda, some people have argued that perhaps what Makerere University needs in the form of the chief administrative officer, who is the vice chancellor, is not so much a guy that has raised from being a teaching assistant, a lecturer, professor, associate professor, to vice chancellor. They possibly require a hard-nosed CEO, the kind of guys that you employ to run NSSF, National Media Group, and all these conglomerates, including Standard Chartered Bank, that is the custodian of your fund. Why? Because these guys know that, you call it, in boardroom speak, you call it the bottom line. They know how to ensure that the bottom line of the shareholders is well pampered. They know how to make the money. Now here you are, with your incredible credentials and Edith here, running an endowment fund trust board, yet the CEO of Makerere University should be able to run that university like a body corporate, generate income and be self-reliant, at the same time ensure academic excellence. Now what we have now is something that doesn't quite hit that mark. Don't you therefore agree that maybe, again, what Makerere University requires is not a guy like Nawangwe who has gone through the ranks in academia into management, but someone that is quintessentially hard-nosed management, and then Nawangwe can continue generating his knowledge and bestowing it onto everyone that comes before him?
I could not agree with you more, except you must understand academicians are very individualistic, very difficult. You have to have a background similar to theirs to be able to understand them. But the job of a vice chancellor is not to teach. It is the job of going around with a hat and begging for money. Somebody who is a businessman at heart, but with an academic background, to be able to understand all these people who, you know, you have heard of university lecturers who come to lecture in pajamas. These fellows are idiosyncrasies. and he doesn't want you to tell him to go and put on a suit. He wants to lecture in his pajama. But that's okay.
Because what's important is here, not
now,
how he looks.
I personally have taken it on to myself to write 2 papers. I have written 2 papers for government to create a salaries commission which will look after civil service, parastatals, and all institutions that are looked after by the government. Because this part of the problem, and I'm not pleading for the student guild president. Part of the problem at Makerere is that the lecturers are paid a pittance compared to people in other jobs. Without naming anybody, you have a full professor earning 3,000 shillings, 3 million shillings a month, and somebody else earning 54 million shillings a month. Now, how different is the job? Must it be like that? Anyway, if only the government could create a salaries commission which would look after all institutions that come under government, you get less strike by the staff, because when Makerere became university and they appointed professors, they were the highest paid people in this country. They were paid higher than any civil servant, and they were all British, by the way.
Wow.
But then independence came, and the African Ugandans became permanent secretaries. They said, how can a man who is running only a department at Makerere earn more than we who are running a whole ministry? That is where the things with Makerere became from up to down, to these people went up, to the extent that Makerere today is a ripe field for strikes, both staff and students. So, to go back to what you said, the Vice Chancellor of Makerere must be a businessman, a hard-nosed businessman with an academic background.
They don't have to. I'll give an example. You ran roughshod here when you were chairman of the Nation Media Group. Remind me, did we have any CEO at Nation Media Group that is a trained journalist?
I hope so.
No, we didn't. And you can tell me that journalists are easier to manage than these professors? We are a bunch of terrible people that you need to understand to manage us. But guess what? Those who run successful media houses are not necessarily journalists. So we can as well get a hard-nosed businessman and put him at the helm of Makerere University and ensure that Professor Nawanga and his ilk are paid handsomely and beautifully, retain them through the proper tenets of governance, attract the best talent, retain it through adequate remuneration, and give them a career path of growth and development, not necessarily putting them into the abyss of management, which for the most part is becoming the Achilles heel.
That's true.
I'm glad you agree.
Can I
Now,
make a comment on that?
Professor, now you want to defend your bread, eh?
No, I don't
You have
want
to
to
tell.
defend. I don't want to look like I'm defending. But I want just to tell you that, you know, a university is a university. It is not just a business. Okay? As I told you, the major mandate of any university is to create new knowledge. So, an ordinary businessman may not be interested, for example, in equipping laboratories with very expensive equipment, if actually he could actually bring in more people who don't need the laboratories, and show that He's managing very well with a lot of money. So that's why every major, there is no major university among the league of top universities to which Makerere belongs, which is not headed by a professor.
Wow, I love that, especially when you hit me with the winner. Now you'll agree with me, ladies and gentlemen, that I only now need more men on the job. Because I think you are an incredible group of people that I can't manage on my own. And so I'm opening the phone lines for the viewers to drop in their phone calls. Now, the viewers, the rules are simple. When I am here, no moment for pleasantries. Oh, Simon, thank you for the opportunity. Now I want... No. Shoot, introduce yourself, shoot your question. We'll be glad to hear what you're saying. I have first caller online. Hello. Hello. As he gathers the momentum to, or she gathers the momentum to ask.
It's a he was.
You could hear it's a he. Hello.
Yes, sir.
Yes, you're welcome on the spot. Shoot your question, but first introduce yourself.
Hello.
I hear you loud and clear.
Yeah, I'm calling from Navy. I'm calling from Navy.
Welcome.
Yeah, I'm calling Chan Gilbert from Navy.
Mr. Chan, please go ahead with your question or comment.
Yeah, I'm not asking questions. The only thing I advise, okay, I'm requesting government to increase the salary.
Yes.
Thank you very much, Ochan. You know, government skitty comes from your taxes. I hope that you are very tax compliant and you not play dodgeball when it comes to paying your taxes, because that's where the salaries for Professor Nawenga and his ill come from. As we wait on for the next caller online, Paul.
Hello.
Oh, we have another caller on the line. Yes. Good evening. Welcome to the program. Your name and your comment, please, or question.
Thank you so much. My name is Dixon Apumiza. I want to agree with Professor Nawang, what he said. The university is supposed to create knowledge, not to be run by businessmen. We know very well, and also I disagree with you, that most of businesses which are created by graduates are corrupting. Look at Dr. Lika, look at his colleague who's running a veterinary medicine shop, forgotten his name, the owners of Quality Chemicals. I think that league of 60s, 40s, they are doing so well, and their businesses have progressed and in a sustainable manner. So I want to agree with Professor. Let professors be given opportunities to run the universities, and salaries be paid, be up the CEO what they are paying executive directors of KCCA, and then we shall see Makerere keep shining. And for example, Simon, I want also to let you know that Makerere is doing so well. He has told you Makerere is number 3 in the African continent, and when you look at the other 2 are all South Africans, actually run by whites. So there is no way this talk of downgrading Makerere University actually discourages us, the alumni, and discourages the professors. The university is doing well, and we appreciate what they are doing. Thank you very much.
Thank you very much, Dixon, for adequately and succinctly putting across your wonderful comment. We hope that when the endowment committee comes to you for donations, you'll be quick to unleash from that wonderful kitty of yours, so that that you clamor for comes to be realized. Another caller on the line, your question or comment?
Hello?
Yes, good evening. You're welcome to the spot.
Thank you. My name is Andrew.
Yes, Andrew.
I'm calling from Brooklyn. I'm always disturbed when I hear continuous reports about the ethical aspects of both the lecturers and the Makerere University. My question is what I went through was the issue of sexual harassment. I'm so glad to have Professor Nawang and all these other universities. What steps are they taking to address this challenge of sexual harassment and other ethical related issues? Thank you very much.
Thank you very much, Andrew. I hope Professor Nawang, you've taken note of that. He just preempted my next question. The moral attitude of your lecturers leaves a lot to be desired. Another caller on the line.
Hello.
Yes, good evening. Welcome to the program. Your name and question or comment?
I am called Vincent Abura.
Yes, Vincent.
I graduated from Makerere in 1995. And I'm following up the discussion very well. And I think I
I'm one of the alumni who would want to see Makerere progressing very well.
And there's only one way you can show that. Contribute to their endowment fund so that the university is self-reliant.
Yeah, I've been contributing. Previously I educated my own brother to the master's level, and then currently I have a student, a son in Makerere University, and I feel like Makerere should be on top of things.
Thank you very much. Vincent, you certainly wish the best for the university, and I'm sure the university is glad to have you as this alumni. We have another caller online. Please, if you are there, your name or question and comment. Over. Hello?
Hello?
Yes, I can hear you loud and clear. Please introduce yourself and ask your question or make your comment.
My name is Ronald.
Yes, Ronald.
I'm calling from Entebbe.
Tell me.
I want to applaud the Vice Chancellor, Professor Dr. Nawange. Hello?
We can hear you. What you do, reduce the volume of your TV so that we are not disrupted by the feedback.
Yeah, I'm trying to ask what is the professor trying to do in closing the gap between the lecture and the student ratio, because the students are, student numbers are surging up. What's the immediate plan?
Thank you, Roland, for that brilliant question. I'm sure Professor Nawange has taken note of that and you will succinctly answer. We have another caller on the line. Good evening. Welcome to the program. Well, I'm afraid we've got to cap it there. Now, Professor Nawange, you are a darling of many. I am glad. But let's start with the last one here.
Yes.
Student-lecture ratio. It's bothersome. What are you doing?
This is a historical problem. And as you remember, we have always been talking about the World Bank policies of the 90s that made Makerere and other universities admit large numbers in order to try and cope. I want to inform the public that things are changing. His Excellency, the President himself, when we visited him and he pledged he was going to increase salaries, encouraged us to reduce numbers. And we welcome that because Makerere, we endeavor to become a research-led university. We will never become research-led if we continue having large numbers. In any case, we now have 40 universities in the country. We are no longer the only. So we can specialize in research and graduate training for all the other universities that need quality human resource. We are already doing that. 10 years ago, the council took a deliberate decision to begin reducing numbers by 10%. At one time, our population was 60,000 students. We now are 36. And we will continue reducing even if our physical facilities and human resource have improved until we reach an optimum to be at world standards.
World standard would also mean and dictate that your teaching staff or other staff behave well towards the students to whom the parents bestow to you for care and education. Now, we've had disturbing allegations. There was an investigative report done by this TV station of testimonies coming in from especially female students saying, look, our lecturers molest us and demand that for us to get good marks that will take us to the wonderful job markets which we clamor to, we must have Saturday. Now you know what I'm talking about.
Yes, Simon.
Are these new allegations?
Unfortunately, one rotten apple spoils the whole basket.
We are talking about several rotten apples here.
I'm saying that figuratively. The university has zero tolerance for sexual harassment.
So does this government on issues of corruption.
But we are taking proactive steps. We are not giving it lip service. You know that several people have been dismissed from the university when they have actually been found guilty. Yes, we have dismissed several people. The problem is that, and we have been telling our colleagues, they espouse enormous power over students. They must act responsibly, knowing that they have this power. But we are not going to tolerate any sexual harassment at the university, and the staff know it.
Professor Nawangwe,
yes.
In this country, sadly, perceptions are as good as the reality. Now, when you engage your body staff and dismiss those you find to be guilty and carry it out in a harsh tone and get the allegations out there in the open, then you lose the battle in the court of public opinion with regard to perception. When you say you've dismissed many, you sound as though you're speaking Greek to me. And yet I supposedly should be one of the most informed people about how you act. So why don't you do some of these dismissals in such a manner that someone is dismissed disgracefully and prohibitively, such that those out there mooting the idea of doing what exactly they have done can for a moment sit back and think twice about their reputation?
Simon, I think we have done that. But of course, we are not the army of police which must parade you and say you are dismissed, you know.
maybe you need to borrow a bit from the police especially.
Well, these are academia, and we must keep somehow the integrity of the rest of the people who are remaining, who are innocent, but because of the acts of one or two people, the image is tarnished. But we are doing the best we can. We are dismissing everybody whom we prove that they have involved themselves in sexual harassment. But we must encourage the students to come out and report. The problem is most students fear to report.
And also sometimes report wrongly because they also have had their own peccadillos.
Of course, there are those problems.
And they are lying. Edith, you had a caller, Vincent, who said when he graduated in 1995, he loves his university, he's got children, he's paid for school fees through, he's got a son at the university at the moment, and he would be very willing, just like Dixon did also tell us, to contribute to the endowment fund. Beyond this public event of the run and all, what other methods have you put in place to receive donations? Because there could be some folks who are in far to reach areas or are unable to attend your public events. How else can they contribute? Do we have a bank account on which we can dump the money? A mobile phone number like that of Alike on which we can drop mobile money?
Yes, yes, we have both. We have both. We have mobile money numbers. Unfortunately, I don't have them with me, but they do exist, and we are going to make them more available to everybody. And we also have an account. And we encourage everybody, not just those who have millions. We appreciate the millions, but we also appreciate the small donations. Why? Because we want everybody to recognize and realize and commit to having a stake in Makerere University. I think that is very, very important.
Can I add a little bit more to that?
Please.
That we have started a data bank to try to dig out Makerere graduates from wherever they may be and reach them. And, so that when they get a flyer, half of them will tear up the flyers. Somebody will put 5,000, somebody will put 10,000. Then there's a spike. Somebody might put 100 million rather. So we are trying to reach as many students as alumni as possible, so that they feel involved. But there has to be a sweetener in some cases. And the sweetener is award of honorary PhD degrees, not the ones that you people parade around town here.
I like that.
These are genuine honorary doctorates given by people who are worthy of such degree, but they know it is an honorary degree, so they don't use it. So they don't call themselves, I'm Dr. So-and-so,
Have you not been to school?
Have not been to school. But yes, we will take any amount of money. It doesn't matter whether it is 1,000 shillings or 1 million shillings. We'll take it.
Well, I am sure our good friend next door, His Excellency Emilio Mwai Kibaki, listening to you and hearing from you, perhaps a phone call, would ensure that part of his pension, which I'm sure is very hefty, having been a former head of state, could certainly do good on our endowment fund.
He's already contributing.
He's
doing it.
Folks?
And we also have a wall of fame, whereby, you know, you are recognized forever.
Wow.
You know, for your contribution to Makerere University. I think there are so many people out there that are looking to, that is another big sweetener. But there are also people out there who really want to make a contribution, who want to make sure that everybody, big and small, have the opportunity to make a contribution.
Well, since there is a chance for an honorary doctorate, and I love titles, I've been working on it. I can't go back to school to be a Dr. Kasiate. I have tried to be Salon, but that's not seeming to work, so perhaps I'll get a degree will possibly help me out. Now, when Dr. Like walked in here with his ken, I knew that at some point he may want to use it. I don't want him to use it telling me to stop the program. So I will stop the program here and say, I must thank all of you for being a part of it. But the traditional thing to do is allow you, in a tour de table, to give us your closing remarks. Now, our now subject to the democratic vote. Do we do the usual gentlemanly things of saying ladies first? Or do we go in ascending order of age and start with the guild president? Or do we start going...
No, we start with the guild president.
Start with the guild president. Is it unanimous?
Yeah.
Yes.
Yes. There you are, Paul Kato.
Wow. I thank you very much, Simon, for having hosted us. However, I must say that the most important thing is not where we are, but rather where we are going. And really, I would rally all people, all Ugandans, students of Makerere, the alumni, the well-wishers, the parents, and everybody to come and support this initiative. And especially, by the way, for Sunday, we have a run, and Simon, we not talked about it. We have a run on Sunday, and it is starting at 7 in the morning, and the chief runner is going to be the Right Honorable Speaker of Parliament, Rebecca Kadaga. Let's come and run.
Where is the gathering point?
Freedom Square.
Freedom Square.
At Makerere.
Campus, yes.
Yeah.
How many kilometers?
We have 2 routes. We have a 5-kilometer route and a 10-kilometer route.
Which route are you taking, Dr. Like? I want to show that at least I beat you.
10.
So
I'm speaking for my chairman.
I am glad.
Yeah, so as Doctor takes the 10-kilometer route, we have tickets. We are selling tickets. We have tickets for students. It's at 10,000. We have one for 25 and one for 50. Yeah? If I'm not mistaken. Yes. So please, let's come.
Where do we access these tickets?
We have different selling points. We have in Makerere at Guest House. We have at City Oil, Lincoln Flats. We have we have at
Shall we have those sold on that very day for those of us who intend to travel from far places to come and find tickets available?
Yes.
However, though, I think it should be early enough because we shall begin very early in the morning.
Well, you better open your shops early.
Yes, well, I think we shall be there. We shall be there as early as possible. So I call upon everybody to come and join us, and we, of course, we build for the future. Thank you very much.
Now, of course, if we are going in ascending order of age, we would have started with Edith, since she is arguably the youngest, but we had to go with you.
Oh, thank you, Simon. Thank you. You've made my evening. Thank you, viewers. Thank you, friends and alumni and students of Makerere. My departing thoughts is that you should all come and support Makerere University. This is a responsibility for all of us, and it is doable. This is just the beginning of this endowment fund initiative. So we hope to see as many people as possible. We have made it easy for everybody to manage. That is why we have 2 routes. We are very appreciative of NTV and other media houses that are supporting. We are very appreciative of you who have called in and expressed support. We are very confident that Makerere University is forward-looking and that we shall all feel proud to have supported the effort. So come all, come one, come all on Sunday. Personally, I'll try with the chairman to do the 10 kilometers. But if we don't manage, we have a fallback position of 5. So please come and support your university.
Well, it looks like diplomacy is one of the things that you never shed off your skin very much. You sound every inch like a diplomat. Thanks for being diplomatic all the time. Now, Professor Nawang, I know so academicians will always be academicians. It's your time now to give us your closing remarks in your usual ones and zeros.
No, Simon, first of all, I also want to thank you for hosting us and for directing a very lively debate.
Let me just tell you that you shouldn't thank me, really. This is my job, and you don't know what I'm going to do after here. I'll go smiling to the bank. But I appreciate it. Thank you very much.
And I'm very much humbled that Dr. Like came with us and is here this late hour. I'm very much humbled, and I want to thank him and the Ambassador Sempala for being so passionate about Makerere University. And that speaks to the 300,000 living alumni of Makerere University. I think this is an opportunity for us to demonstrate that we can support our own systems, that we cannot inherently depend on other people for our survival, that we can actually on our own support our institutions that will help us get out of poverty. So, alumni, and beginning with you, my colleagues, the staff at Makerere, I hope that all of you are out there on the Freedom Square. People will not understand if you don't come there and the next day you come out complaining about the conditions at Makerere University. The students, come out in your large numbers. But all of you, 300,000 living alumni, come out. You may not come to run, but support somebody else to run. Let us support this institution, the best institution we have on this continent, the best black university. Let us create conditions for our youngsters to be more innovative, to have a better experience of the university, so that when they go out there, they actually make the lives of our impoverished people better. But we can only do it together with you. Support this run, come out and run.
What a passionate appeal. For a moment, you have touched my heart. And I think proceeds from this show, the money that they are going to pay me for this show, I'll give it to Makerere University. Before you clap, you may wish to know how much it is.
It doesn't matter.
But since he was former chairman who set the salary scales of this place, if it is little, you know who to blame. Me, I've given with all my heart. It is my small half button, and his own would tell me that's half a button. It would have otherwise been bigger. Dr. Martin Arike, we saved the best for last, and deliberately so. Close the program.
The only difference is that 5 years ago when I walked in here, you would have been trembling. Now you talk to me like an equal.
Oh yes, ain't I glad?
No, what I accepted this job because I believe that Makerere can someday stand on its own feet, because it has all the potentials of doing it, of becoming a self-supporting institution. And this is my dream, because I feel that if we pay our professors and lecturers a living wage, they will stay and they will contribute to the development and the education of our youngsters. If we don't pay them, obviously they will go to greener pastures as they are doing today. One thing I would like people to know, that Uganda has got a lot of talent, and it is a question of harnessing this talent. And if I can contribute to harnessing some of this talent, not all of it, I will have done my duty as a citizen. By the way, I have to be grateful to Makerere because in 2012, I was accorded the highest academic gift Makerere can give, which is to deliver the lecture of the year, wow, which I did. And to me, that was my Nobel Prize as far as this country is concerned.
I'll have to say you couldn't have found a better person to do
so. I am doing all this because I believe in it, I am sincere about it, and I will do it to the best of my knowledge, and it will be very, very transparent. And Simon, thank you very much.
My pleasure.
You should be glad I'm not your boss anymore.
I would have been fired tonight. For the viewers, you'll appreciate that Dr. Martin Arike was for a long time the board chairperson of the National Media Group, for which we all belong. And oftentimes there are several causes that are out there being propagated by different kinds of people. Many times before you make a choice of being a part of that cause, no matter how noble it is, of course, questions abound as to the credibility of those who are propagating that cause. Now, you'll agree with me that there hasn't been a cause in recent time that is led by a distinguished person with a kind of credentials as Dr. Martin Arike. And of course, coupled with the other members of the board of trustees for this wonderful fund for Makerere University. So if you didn't believe in the potential of Makerere University, at least believe in the potential of the trust board members and their own trust to deliver on their promise. With that, I can thank you more, the viewers, for staying up this late, discussing with us, partaking of our conversation, and obviously taking note of what's happening at arguably the best university in Uganda. That's what we do best here on NTV, deliver to you the very best in terms of commentary and setting the agenda. We believe that our close cooperation with Makerere University will indeed deliver the goal that you intend to. If anything doesn't come as we expect, certainly it won't be our fault. It will be the act of God. And we know that God always does the best for us. We can't thank you more for staying with us and being a part of this program. We'll be back with this same program next week, same time, same place. But otherwise, more quality programming continues here on NTV. And before sunrise tomorrow, we'll have Morning at NTV, which has the pattern of starting your day in the very best of notes. And you can imagine what a Friday morning show looks like. So have a wonderful night, and God bless.